Anybody remember Pippa Biddle? Pippa Biddle writes for Wired magazine, and I don't know, last summer it seems like she wrote an article for Wired magazine saying, "Hey, how can how can the people who write this music allow that big bad person Colin Flaherty to use it in his videos?" Well, the music stuff is a fairly straightforward transaction. You get it, and it's royalty free, and you use it. Anyway, Pippa went on to remind everybody that I'm a prolific YouTuber who chronicles violence by African Americans, which, I claim, is much greater social problem than violence against African Americans. I know, that's a crazy thing, isn't it? Anyway, so Pippa wasn't very happy with that, so she went around and wrote this big article for this Condé Nast magazine. Condé Nast, of course, is a magazine chain 10 years ago decided, oh yeah, we're getting on board with the Down with the Cause business. Now, the whole chain, they published some of the biggest, glossiest, nicest magazines in America. Well, now they ran the whole damn franchise into the dirt, losing over $100 million a year. 6 months ago, the publisher came out and said, oh yeah, just because we're losing that, it's not a panic. We're going to lose that much more every year for the next few years until we totally switch to digital. The board of directors got a hold of that nonsense and they said, boom, you're out of here. No, we're cutting costs. We're not going to lose a bunch of money, not for the sake of idiots like Pippa Biddle who are in denial about reality. Well, I didn't really say that last part, but they probably know it. Anyway, so Pippa's up there living in denial, deceit, and delusion, a member of one of the oldest families of Connecticut, the Biddle family. Do you remember the person called the Mayflower Madam? Her last name was Biddle. So Pippa's in total denial about what's really happening in her home state. Too bad, because maybe she could have done something to help this young lady out. Her name is Emily Todd. She's from Bridgeport, Connecticut, and she was at a family getaway on a place. I won't even try to pronounce this. Chebeague Island. She's a 10th generation member of this family. That means her roots go way back to the Mayflower as well. I mean, this girl's like a carbon copy of Pippa. Private schools, family estates, vacation homes, the whole thing. She decides when she's up at the island or in Bridgeport, she decides she's going to take a walk on the wild side, goes to a dating app. Next thing you know, she is in way over her head with one of the fellas. And this fella wouldn't leave her alone. Finally, she found herself. She gave him $500 to fix his car, and she hoped that would make him leave her alone. He didn't. He killed her. And Pippa Biddle would have us believe this is a one-off. This is not part of a pattern, Colin. I mean, it's just as likely for a white person to kill a black person or a white person to kill a white person as it is for a black person to kill a white person. That's a fairy tale. That's a dangerous fairy tale.
Please, sir, I want some more.
And not only is it a dangerous fairy tale, it's a fairy tale that's putting these magazines out of business because more and more readers are figuring out that the delusion, they don't need to pay money or subscribe or advertise in magazines whose only product is denial, deceit, and delusion over and over and over and over. So they figure they're just not going to subscribe, they're not going to read it, they're not going to advertise in it, they're not going to pay attention to it. Having harder and harder time getting people to write for them. Especially the writers who don't care about making black kids angry.